Good evening, everyone. It's the 22nd of April. It's 9 o'clock. I'm a very tired little bathtub this evening, but I'm joined by two very exciting men, as always. First of all, I've got Mr. B.
What's up there, bro? You're right, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, God, me too, man. You're an idiot.
All right, well, that's how Mr. B was. Yabba, how are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Interested to see. I was watching a bit of the game just now. It was City Villa. Villa, a good side. And I don't know why they haven't played an iron all this time. It's only last few games he's got back.
Injured.
Oh, was he injured?
Yeah.
I was going to say, because he makes a difference. He's got high in presence and he's a good player as well. So I was just really, he stood out to me just now.
I'm a big fan of him. I think that he's a player we should have got, to be honest.
Yeah.
You were calling that. You were calling that when he was at Everton. 50 million though.
I mean, yeah, like that's. I think that's a decent price. Big, strong, contributes like in both boxes. It's powerful, rangy. Like, I'm very, very surprised. I know Villa are a top 4 team and like European quarter-finalists, but I did kind of think that he might be going to a bigger team, as it were. But yeah, like it's been. What did you think of like Rashford in the first half? Yeah,
I haven't seen much because I was coming from work. I was just watching the highlights at half time, and he had a good run. I thought he should have scored a goal. He got set free, and the keeper came out. But I thought he's got to be in those situations. He's got to do a Romario, have a range of finishing, toe it under the legs, just drop the shot, do something different. I just think all that pace gets you into a good position to score goals, and then when it's 1-on-1 situation like that, it's not like a guarantee, is it? But certain strikers were in those positions, like, boy, there's a goal. But with Rashford, all that good work goes to waste because I just think his finishing he hasn't got a great variety of finishing, in my opinion.
All right, should we see who we've got in the comments tonight? Like Andrew's been off on one, and I can't deal with all of it, Andrew, I'm afraid. But Steph earlier on said Cunha is a proper ball carrying forward with mobility and physicality, just what we're lacking. Is this noise coming from my end, or?
Yeah, I can't hear anything. You sound all right to me.
Okay,
right. Guys in the chat, can you hear an extra noise?
But yeah, we'll discuss Cunha a little bit later after we've done our introductions. Andrew is in the house. Got Matty Bassett. Matty, let me know how you're getting on with The Last of Us Series 2, if you liked the episode last night. We got Chat Sport. Good evening to you. We've got Vincent Bullock. I hope you're doing well. I mean, look at this. There's static noise, all good sound-wise. And we got Bilal as well. Yeah, Vincent can hear something like a tap is running. That is the energy draining out of me, Vincent. We've got Chris Weens in the house. Can you a big good move? I still think we need to look to Obi as our next striker. A big fan of The Last of Us, Matty Bassett, especially Factions, the multiplayer for it. Right, so this evening we've got 3 players that we're probably gonna look at, and we're going to be looking at the data and things, which might not sound very interesting, but we're going to try and make it interesting. A couple of years ago, me and Yabba did a show where I was completely perplexed at looking at the data to why Liverpool would ever sign Darwin Núñez. Do you remember that show, Yabba? Good. But like one of the things that's important to remember with data is it doesn't give you everything you need. It's just a sort of starting point. So, like, it's good to look at what they can offer, but you have to remember that it's not always the they're not always the best metrics and things like that. So take it with a pinch of salt. But
Would you have taken Darwin on the stats that you're going to run us through? Would you have taken Nunes?
absolutely not. We looked at them. I remember he was wildly overperforming his XG. He'd only had like one good season. There was just a lot of stuff that made it a really odd transfer with the money that was involved. Because Darwin Nunez was very expensive, wasn't he? He was like 80 million or something like that. Just when we looked at his stats, I always remember thinking it didn't look like a particularly good transfer. And Yabba did his normal and said we should come back to this in 2 or 3 years. And we've now come back to it in 2 and 3 years, and we were right, Yabba. So,
I still think he's a handful. I think he's a good Premiership player. I think, he's just one of them players who gets a lot of stick because he's not consistent with what he does. But he can head. He's strong runner. He's got a bit of a nasty side to him. But as Andrew says there, as I was saying about Rashford, he just can't finish.
Yeah. I mean, can you make an argument that he hasn't been anything but a disappointment?
For the money, maybe. You're not getting value for money for what they paid. I mean, think of who's a top. How much do they pay for Haaland? How much do you pay for Mbappe? Who are the best strikers in the world?
Yeah, but you got to remember. See, people talk about Haaland. He had a buyout. If he was on the market, he would have been 150 mil. He had a buyout,
right.
so
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. That's maybe not a gauge. You look at Solanke, 60 million, bag of shit. Yeah. Rasmus, 72 million, bag of shit.
Yeah.
What are you spending now for a half decent striker? Because
that's a good point. And then how much did Villa play Brentford for Watkins?
Peanuts, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, and anywhere near that. How much did you say? 60?
50?
No, I don't even think they would have paid that for him.
Really? I was thinking it was under 20 million.
Did they buy him? Did they buy him when Brentford were in the Championship? I think they bought him when Brentford were in the Championship. So I'm saying 25 mil, which was a record Championship at the time.
I'll check for you.
I think
34 million euros. So
28 million, which could raise to 33 million.
Okay, and they were in the Championship at the time, Brentford, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think I got lucky.
God, it cost Brentford like 150 grand.
Yeah,
they didn't. Sorry, it cost them 7 million from Exeter City.
Oh, who cares? Bloody hell! Well, that's how you do it. You keep on rising, I suppose. And then he was nearly at Arsenal. Do you think there's something going on there? The Rashford becomes the main boy and Watkins buggers off?
Well, they seem to be pretty dead set on going for Gyökeres at the moment, and he's got like an Arsenal tattoo. He's kind of like one of the vogue strikers like in Europe at the moment. He's big, he's fast, he fits what Arsenal want to do. He's younger than Watkins. Given the choice, I'd go for Watkins, though, personally.
29.
Yeah, but I think that when we look at football now, like sort of maybe 20 years ago, you used to think that 30 was like a cut-off point for a player. And you look at like Cristiano Ronaldo, Modric, Cruz, like players are getting to sort of 33 or 34 at the really, really top level. And I don't think that a player over 30 like is a bad move anymore, as it were. I mean, like Liverpool have spunk so much money on Salah's like last 2 contracts, and a lot of it is like a lot of the concern has been about his age. But if in modern football, I think that you can expect a player to still be playing at the peak of their ability at least 33 now.
Peak players, proper players, I still think a lot of them do drop off. I don't think it's too much that really excel after they reach 30.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we've obviously had players like Rooney, who, I mean, you can make an argument Rooney dropped off at about 28. Like it was roughly around that age, wasn't it, that he started
Yeah.
being pushed out and things. But my point is that I think that like you just need to cut in the same way. We have to accept that a 25 million pound player 20 years ago is now a 100 million pound player. That someone who is 30 20 years ago like has maybe 4 more years at the top. Like it's not rare.
It's true, yeah, what you're saying. And let me just go through the top 10 goal scorers in the Premier League this season as it stands. Okay. Number 1 is Mohamed Salah. He cost what?
25?
25, 30 million, a long time ago. Number 2, he's got 27 goals. He's played 33. Next is Isaac. He's at Newcastle. He's got 21 goals in 30 games. He cost. They brought him from Sociedad, right? He cost a bit of money, didn't he?
I think he's 40 or 50 odd.
Okay, and then you got Haaland, that Mr. B said obviously he's been injured. He's got 21 goals in 28 games. Then you got Chris Wood. Now he's having his best season ever, I think. He's got 31 appearances and 19 goals. So he's 4th in the charts, playing for Nottingham Forest. So he's not cost a lot of money, has he? He's been in and out. Then you got the 2 Brentford boys, 5 and 6, Mbeumo and Wissa, sorry. They both, one's got 18. Mbeumo's got 18 goals. Vissa's got 16 goals. That's a great output.
Really?
Yeah, considering Tony left. I mean, these two have filled the gap, haven't they? Then you got Watkins with 15 goals in 33 games. Then you got a non-striker, which is Palmer, 14 goals. Then you got our boy Cunha, 14 goals in 28 games. And then at number 10 is Mateta. But just going beyond that, you've got Justin Kluivert, who's having his best season at 12 for Bournemouth. Liam Delap, who's getting relegated as a striker, but he's got 12 goals in 32 games. And you've got the Larson from Wolves, Luis Diaz, Brendan Johnson, who hardly gets a game for Spurs. And then the rest is, scattered below 10 single figures. So it's a
Man United player there.
No, I don't see a Man United player on the list. But it just shows you that, I mean, you talk about price comparison and what the going rate for a top striker is. None of these players in the top, look, Mbeumo, Risa, Watkins, Palmer, Cunha, Mateta. The only 2 big money signings there is Haaland, obviously, and Isaac. The rest, kind of like cheap.
So what do you classify as a decent Premier League number for goals wise? Forget about all the rest, all the other competitions.
1 in 2.
Specifically, 1 in 2. So you're saying our forward, if a forward comes in and gets 16 goals for the season, you're happy. 16 Premier League goals for the season, you're happy.
That's a going rate for a striker. A good striker should be getting 1 in 2.
And 16 to 20, like then, 1 in 2.
And then exceptional is what? Anything over 25, yeah?
If you can get 20 goals a season, you're something, How many players? I mean, look, Harry Kane got 20 goals consecutively for like 4 or 5 seasons. Salah's done it. Henry's done it. Not many players have got 20 goals consecutively in the Premier League over the whole history of it.
Yeah, you'd think adding to that number, you'd think Aguero, Shearer, Rooney, the 3 other ones that would regularly sort of hit those numbers. But are you saying that we shouldn't be spending big like on a striker?
No, I think this conversation started when we talked about Nunes. We were after him as well, weren't we? And that was a lot of money. And he hasn't. The general consensus is that he hasn't performed by goals that he scored. He's not scored enough goals. And we got Rasmus, we spent a lot of money on, and he hasn't performed. He's not getting close to those sort of figures. 1 in 2. I mean, he's got 1 in 27 or something stupid like that. Just showing you the list. Just look at the list. There's players. Look at Vista and Mbeumo. Look at Isaac on the list. You got Ollie Watkins. Obviously, the big Salahs and the Haalands on the list as well. You don't, Solanke you mentioned. He's not even on the list this season. He was last season.
Been injured though.
So would you have said that these players are actually better strike before the team? You look at Rasmus. Are these players better than him? Are they better players than him, or is it now a mental thing where he's totally finished as a footballer.
I
Because
think that, me personally, it's a good discussion. I'm going to end it on this. I just think it's down to the team you're playing for. Whether you like Brentford, for example, who would have thought two of their guys would be in top 16 and 18 goals for two of their guys who are not even strikers or out and out strikers, I don't believe, especially in Buemo. So for me, that's down to making the most of your system to be effective in the Premier League. Chris Wood playing for Nottingham Forest is my last point. He's a box guy, big, strong, scores in the box, but they have to play for him. So the team, I watched them yesterday, they defend deep and they break. It's made for them. I remember, last point, remember the guy who used to play, the German guy, who plays for Spurs, played for Chelsea, this quick guy, what's the name?
Timo Werner.
Werner. When he played for Red Bull or one of the teams there, he was prolific because it was hit on transitions and he was scoring goals at the end of it. So I just think it's down to who you're playing for and where we can be effective. Unless you're someone like Isaac, or whatever his name is, for not Newcastle, who's exceptional in my opinion, and Haaland.
Yeah, I think though that when you look at that list, you have to look at sort of two things. One is what they're paid, because like Salah and Haaland are on, like, they're on OPEC wages. They've got the GDP of a small European country, like, every week. And if any of those players were to move now, like, how much are you paying for an Isak or an Mbeumo and all these sort of things? Like, pretty much anyone who scores over 16 goals in the Premier League, let's say over 14 goals in the Premier League, I think you have to say their baseline valuation would be about 50 million.
Stop. That's 1 second. How much did DELAP get?
He's got 10, I think, 8
12.
or 10.
12. In a relegated football team. So does that make DELAP a £50 million striker?
12
Yeah.
and 32.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, luckily he's got a release clause and things. So, but yeah, I mean, if like he's got 12, has he?
12, yeah.
Games.
Yeah. So what 1 in 3 in a relegation team? So like that's pretty good, I think. But we can look at some stats and work out now if they are any good or not. So we're gonna be looking at some stats. Yeah, but can you handle comments for me, because I won't be able to see the screen.
Okay, guys, keep the comments to the data. I'm just giving you an idea.
Can you see what I'm seeing, which is B-Rec? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to have a little look at Matty CUNHA and see what we were getting. If I do this, can you see it? Like, is anything highlighted there?
Yeah, we can see your cursor.
Yeah. So does it all go yellow?
Yeah.
All right. So I think, like, first of all, right, he's played 28 games. He's got 14 goals and 4 assists. So that's pretty good, Yabba, straight away for a sort of a number 10. The thing that is quite concerning is this thing here, XG. He's doubling what you would expect him to score with 14 goals. So normally you'd expect him to get around 7 or 8 goals, but he's got 14. So that's something to bear in mind. And then you can see like his bigger stat, his sort of, I don't know, like more interesting stats here. Is there any that first of all stand out to you?
Not really, because my eyes, it's quite a small screen. My eyes are bad. Non-penalty goals.
Yeah.
What's the top one?
So non-penalty goals means like from open play, and compared to other like wingers and attacking midfielders, he is in the top 96 percentile.
So he's not taking
more or less, yeah.
So basically, he doesn't take penalties.
Yeah,
that's really good.
But no, it doesn't mean that he just doesn't take penalties. It means that, like, in terms of players in his position, he is like in the top goal scorers across not just the Premier League, but like the 5 big leagues, the European Cup, and the UEFA League. So it's very impressive. Like, he's got 14 goals, like, in the Premier League. That is crazy for someone who's not a number 9 taking penalties.
And if you look as well, the goals he scores, a lot of them are kind of goals that he's done himself. So I mean, I know you talk about the XG being high. I still don't understand all of that shit, to be fair. If they miss this shit, if they don't miss, they're not shit. That's how I look at it, you know what I mean? So I'm not really sure about his XG and what they're supposed to be getting and all this stuff. But one of the stats that came out today, obviously, you know, like anything else, when United are linked to a player, all the negative stuff, he walks the most in the Premier League. As I said, it doesn't matter. It's just what was coming out today, and I couldn't stop laughing. You know, because all of a sudden he's going to be this, but he's not going to be as good as everybody thinks he is because he's been linked to us now.
Yeah, like it depends what he's doing with that walking, to be honest. I've never seen a footballer walk more than Leo Messi. He did all right. Walking. Sorry?
I think the guy, we're struggling to see the data, so you might have to read it out if we're going to highlight anything. Just read it for us vocally so we can.
Maybe I can do this. Does that help at all?
Yeah, that's a bit better. Thank you.
All right. So, right, well, just to go through these things, like he takes a lot of shots and he scores a lot of goals. He doesn't assist very often. And then when you look at his passes, he's not an on-the-ball player, which is perfectly fine. And he doesn't complete as many passes as you'd like him to, but he's still completing 7 out of 10 passes. And you can see that a lot of his passes are progressive. So rather than getting worried about the fact that he's not passing the ball a lot and they're not always accurate, I think that what the data is showing here is that when he gets the ball, he hits it forward into dangerous areas as quickly as possible. And I don't necessarily think that that is a bad thing. But he's not going to be, on the ball dictating play and stuff like that. He's going to be an accelerant, a catalyst.
Nice. Like we said there, accelerant, catalyst. Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because that's just my reading of the data. This is interpretation of it, so might not always be correct. But for example, progressive passes received is an interesting one because normally that means that you're quite deep. Where what I think, right, from all this data here that we're getting is because of his progressive passing and his take-ons and carries, when he gets the ball, he just accelerates attacks. Like he runs, he passes it forward.
That's what we see, to be fair. That's the part of the game that we see. Interceptions, bathtime.
Yeah.
Is an interesting one. Because obviously that's going to be a part of the game that Amarin obviously wants the players in that position to do as well. So maybe that's something else that they're looking at. I don't understand the clearances. Is that from his? I'm assuming that's going to be from corners and stuff. Is it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, aerials 1 is obviously a massive concern to me because we need to improve that. But so interceptions have grown tremendously in importance, in the last couple of years, because if you tackle or you block, you're not guaranteed the ball. If you intercept the ball, you're in a really good position because normally you're facing play, the other team is disorganized and so on. So interceptions are seen as the kind of most valuable stat for defending now because they allow you to instantly turn into attack. So I think you're perfectly correct there that they have that is something that would have stood out to them. But these are all really, really encouraging. The only negative things that I would say is that he's not someone that's going to help you control a football match. He's going to do the opposite. He's going to be direct, look to score, get everything forward. And if you were to have him, Bruno Fernandes, in the team, there's going to be a hell of a lot of ping pong football.
So is that more? So he's more like a Garnacho type player then.
I think what this would suggest to me, looking at the stats, is that he is your normal number 8 player. Like, he's a box-to-box midfielder who gets ahead of the ball, doesn't really touch it as much as the other players, and is there to apply the final touch, or is there to apply like finishes and so on.
Box to box.
Yeah,
we're going to be playing him as a 10.
Yeah, but that that is like he basically, looking at these, that is what I'd expect from the right-sided player in a 3-man midfield. In terms and because we play with 2 10s, I think that one of the 10s should be treated as a box-to-box midfielder. Like, they shouldn't be on the ball that much. They should be running channels. They should be getting ahead of the striker. Like, you could think of it as a sort of second striker, as it were. So their job is to get ahead of the ball and then recover space. And I think he does all of these really well.
See, it's strange. We see the formation. I see both 10s as players are supposed to be feeding our striker. Obviously, they go past him, but I
do you know how do you?
I
how
would
do
more
you
like
see
my
it,
10s
Yabba?
to be feeding my striker.
Yeah, it's difficult one. If I didn't know the player, I would find it really hard to read this or understand what's going on. You made it clear. I mean, you really described it well. But because I know the player, and then added to that from what the data's saying, the data's suggesting that he is a catalyst with acceleration, which is good. The one thing Mr. B was touching on there is about if you do 2 10s, having one as a box to box. I've noticed sometimes to break teams down, we need someone to go beyond the back line and make those runs to stretch it as well. I'm really impressed with the player. The data is really impressive as well because of the goals he scored and the quality he gives us. Because I think in the final third, we haven't had that sort of quality. It's only since Xerxes coming aside, he can do a bit of, good things on the eye. And that is quality stuff, and open things up and just use his body and hold up the ball, link up the play. I think CUNHA is a bit advanced from him because he can do all that and he can drive as well, and become a threat and hold up the ball really well and attack defenders, and put the fear into them as well. So I think he's a fantastic player. I'm already, no matter, even if data came up to say, he was something really bad about his performance, I'm already giving him a thumbs up for me. And I'm sure most of the people in the comments are too, because I'm going to go to the comments now and quickly read out what the guys have been saying, because we all qualified to talk about this guy. He's playing in the Premier League, and here we go. So Andrew's saying he scored 5 from outside the box. Tough to do that year in, year out. So out of his 14 goals, is it 5 of them have been from outside the box, which is impressive. Razzie Xerxes, Rasmus couldn't score that amount of goals together. I watched that's from Simon Warner. Hi, Simon. I'm Titanium. I watched some CUNHA highlights earlier. He scored some nice goals. Richard saying here, when a club's going to stop buying players by stats, they don't matter. Back to the old ways and scout the player. We've got Simon Warner saying, how good is CUNHA in the air, especially for corners? Can we come back to that bath time about being good in the air? I'm Titanium saying, I can see a good partnership between him and Bruno. Tactical Devils agrees. He could work well, Bruno, as long as they don't run into the same areas. I'm Titanium. He can also carry us up the pitch, as evidenced by the data there. Would be interesting to compare their seasonal heat maps. I like seeing things like that. That's from Tactical Devils. How about CUNHA playing alongside Ugarte or Dorgu? Says Simon Warner. Okay. Bruno is, and CUNHA, that is, talking about heat maps, I imagine. Chris is saying here, bath time, I like the stats. What are your socials, mate? Are you on Instagram? And you can answer all this in a sec. I'm just going to go through 26 next month. Similar age to Bruno when he arrives. Big up to Stuart Marshall, our boy, Man United passionate red, going mad. He was at the game, the memorable game the other day. Everyone saying hi to Stuart. And with Mount and Ericsson possibly going, he could fit alongside Casemiro if he stays. Question mark, that is, from Simon. I don't see him playing that deep. Richard saying here, I don't care about data. I want the scout to go and look at him. Tell me he can do it for Man United. Andrew saying here, thumbs diagonally up, positive, but with corners. Concerns. Yeah, what I'm saying there. How many pens has CUNHA scored, says Simon. Warner, and there's a few things to the answer there. The heading ability, the difference about Simon's fed up with people buying players based on data. It's been successful at some points, and also as well the heat map issue, bath time. One more here. One Don MUFC 45 says the best place for Bruno in the team is the role as number 8. There you go. Over to you guys.
Yeah, like look, as I said, I don't know who was whinging about us using data. Was it Richard? Yeah, like Richard. Maybe you missed the start of the show where basically data isn't the be all or the end all. What it's traditionally used for is to cut out bias and things like that. But I completely agree that data is a shortcut now, and it should just be used to give you a general impression of a player. And then you actually look at them, because even things like aerial duels, I don't think that the way they calculate the metric, and I've looked at it, is particularly persuasive to me. But based off the stats, he's not great at like winning headers and things like that. And Andrew was talking about like scoring long shots and things. He's one thing that's quite odd about him is that I didn't show it, but he's basically, his average shooting throughout his career has been from 19 feet, like consistently at every single club. So he shoots from about 20 yards. It's 20 yards, sorry. He shoots from about 20 yards out consistently, which I thought was quite interesting. Because where would that put it in the sort of geography of the box, Yabba?
Just on the edge of the box, just outside the box.
Yeah, just it's basically the edge of, it's the kind of like the edge either side of the box is where he takes his shots. And when you look at United, like our now kind of like comfort goal is a pullback to that area. And you've got to think, like, we don't know about Mount, we don't know about Ahmad, we don't know about Xerxes. We only know that Bruno can score that goal, to be honest. So having another player in there that can score that goal, I think is pretty sexy, to be honest. I don't have access to things like heat maps and stuff like that, I'm afraid. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up was about carrying a football and dribbling a football, because a lot of people get pretty hard now about like carrying balls and dribbling balls and things. CUNHA is a decent carrier of the ball. Like, you're not looking at someone like, is it Morgan Rogers at Villa, who just, that's all he does, is like run with the ball. CUNHA is pretty decent at it, but this
just
year,
decent.
Yeah,
and what you see, okay,
he's decent. Like, he's better than anything we've got. Like, we don't have anyone who can really progress the ball up the pitch through carries, with maybe Lenny Yoro, in some ways maybe Garnacho, but like, this is, in terms of when you look at Xerxes and in terms when you look at Bruno, the two big things that they're really missing from their game is the ability to drive with the ball. Like, yeah, but you love Xerxes. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to defend that. I mean, he's good. He's a good link-up player. He uses the ball rather than carries the ball. Yeah, he uses the ball well. Lets the ball do the work, I think. Very intelligent player. I think so. Xerxes outstanding, man. I love it.
Well, but one of the key things that's happened in the Premier League this season is that to enter the final third and to enter the penalty box, the majority of teams are doing it through carries now. So they're not like necessarily passing between the lines or using sort of positional play to create spaces for people to get in. What they're doing is they're getting a free man and driving it into the box. And this is something that Manchester United sorely lack, in my opinion. And it's one of the reasons why I want Garnacho to pretty much play in every game, because he's the only player that seems to be able to penetrate in that way. Yeah. CUNHA, I think, gives you that. I think that he can carry it into the box and he can carry it into the final third. He's not the best in the world by any stretch at doing it, but it's a significant improvement to our squad. So I'm very happy. Like, if we go for CUNHA, I think he's a little bit pricey at 60 million, but you know, we've got to pay the prices, Mr. B.
You say he's pricey. I think he's proven in the Premier League. Obviously there's Premier League tax. Obviously there's no United tax on this, but he's actually on 150 grand a week already. So if that's the figure that he's on, he was never going to come to us for 30 million. 30 million is always going to be, you know, those wages probably dictate that price in the market.
Okay. A lot of people are talking about his XG. I'm like Mr. B. I don't really, never really understood all that sort of stuff. I know basically what it means, but he's doubled. He's due to get 7 goals. He's actually got 14. So people are raving about that in the comments. And once again, the heat map thing's coming up. Have you tried it on a sofa score? That's from Subvids. One Don is saying here, what are your guys' thoughts on CUNHA, Shirky, and OSIMHEN? We have discussed those guys recently. Simon Warner's saying now CUNHA, I think, would vastly improve our goal difference if Onana can stop letting the goals in. Dave Peasy now saying it's a positive if it means you're a consistently better finisher than average. This is to do with XG kind of thing. And concerns from Andrew saying it's hard to sustainably beat your XG. I don't know how all these data is formed, but yeah, it's usually on point. So goals over XG, says Chat Sports. So for me, let me just say this: it's a thumbs up. I've always liked CUNHA as a player. I like players like Xerxes, like CUNHA, good on the ball, strong, link-up play, good intelligence as well. Comparing that to someone like Rasmus, who I just don't feel has that ability about him to be calm and controlled in what he does. His bath time's gone missing, but it's all right. He'll be back soon. But it's a bit like with most sports, the ones that are calm, controlled, and relaxed in when they're in the arena of doing what they do are the ones who usually perform well. They always say it's different. You get, especially in boxing, for example, you get some guys who are great at sparring. When it comes to being under the lights, they find it hard to perform. So for me, I like players like CUNHA because he seems very relaxed. He seems to trust in his ability. And when the lights are on, when it's showtime, he's performing 14 goals. There's evidence of that right now, you know. So it's about being relaxed, being calm, being in control of what you're doing, playing in your own pace. You know, with all the craziness going around you, as soon as you get the ball, you got to be able to play at your pace and dictate and be comfortable in what you're doing. A lot of people can't do that. So under the lights, he's a great player for me because his ability just shines through. So I'm
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Ah, thank God.
So I'm definitely a big fan of this guy. Guys in the chat, can you get a thumbs up emoji if you can? Or you can get the thumbs down. But for me, definitely, CUNHA is definitely a thumbs up for me. I'm even more than so than yesterday. Love him as a player, but when I'm seeing all this data, he scored 14 goals. I think, wow.
He takes corners as well.
Oh, he takes corners as well.
Yeah, that's always a good marker of like of someone who can strike the ball well. But with XG, Yabba, it's really, really simple. It's that each individual shot is assigned a probability of if you should score or not. So if you think of a penalty, like if you take 10 penalties, what do you think like should be like the score that you get?
7 out of 10.
Right, exactly. So a penalty has an XG of 0.7. And with players that like overperform their XG, if it's just for one season, it's very, very worrying because it might just be a good season. If it's over a couple of seasons, it suggests that they're a better finisher than the average. CUNHA's XG is always been consistently above. His goals have always been consistently above his XG in the Premier League, just not to the level of this season. So you could realistically expect 10 to 12 goals off him for the budget for this season. You like a reasonable expectation would be 10 or 11 goals instead of the 14.
That's interesting, that. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to come to us and score 20 goals in his first
yeah.
You just say that.
This is the one.
What we got?
Explain, Ed. Explain. Are you happy with the fee that may well be paid? But you're saying, trust me, as a Wolves fan, he's not the answer. What doesn't he do that maybe we're looking at while you're on here? Sorry for
That's
jumping
interesting that to hear from a Wolves fan as well. Someone who watches him week in, week out. I'm surprised he says that as well because I think he's one of the better players. But yeah, look, we did ask for that thumbs up, Mr. B. Have you a thumbs up or down
for Cunha?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'll take Cunha. He destroys us every game he plays. I look at when he's ready to start running, and he's just fending players off. People talk about his attitude. I like aggressive players. I like players who play on the edge. So he might get a red card. Fine. Bruno's had 2 red cards this season. We don't hear anybody, condemning him. So no, I'm all for taking him. I'm all for Cunha.
Well, Chris is saying thumbs up. We've got a thumbs up from Richard. Thumbs up from Chat Sports as well. We love this guy. Matty Bassett saying thumbs up. 17 likes at the moment. Hannah's Football, welcome. How you doing? This is a West Ham fan. The Irons, they're in a bit of limbo at the moment, aren't they? But yeah. Who's the guy they bought from Hull, the left-footed guy?
Bowen.
Oh, yeah. You know what? He's someone who's really impressed me the last couple of years. I didn't think he was that good, but he's got something about him. And Dave P is saying thumbs up as well. So, yeah, just coming back to this, Ed, we did ask you the question. Can you enlighten us a little bit more about why you think, as a Wolves fan, he isn't the answer? Oh, here he comes.
He has. Yeah.
So Ed is saying this is, guys, it's interesting. This really is. It's good insight. He doesn't work for the team. One sniff of being marked or aggressively, he backs out of the game. Plus, his attitude stinks right now. Is this what your team needs? Just to add to that, he's saying here, he's quality player, but he doesn't perform week in, week out. Just going back to this is the main issue here that he's saying. Guys, bath time, anything to add to this?
I mean, look, you've got Ed who's losing a player, and he's got a negative view on him. Wolves have won, 6 in a row now? Cunha's been a massive part of that. I understand, right, that it is we've only really kind of had this with Ronaldo, where a player has been kind of desperate to get out of the club and go somewhere else and things. I think that he's been very, very good for Wolves and has got you out of a pickle a few times. I understand that there's some issues there, but I was only playing it once. All right, well, fuck me.
You know what? I'm starting to go like this. Thanks, Ed. Look, you know what? Can I just say this? So no disrespect to Ed. I'm just gonna say this. We're not qualified to talk on this player like you. You go and watch his games week in, week out. I know a lot of British fans, when we go to games, we want to see players put effort in. And we did talk earlier. There was, I think Mr. B mentioned, he's got the most amount of walking pace. He's the player who walks the most in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you're walking, you are creating your own space. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be working your bollocks off every game. So I'm interested to know, is it because the fans going back because you want to see passion and running and that sort of thing, or can you appreciate someone who, as I was saying earlier, has got his own calmness and does his own thing and realizes to be effective? There's a saying from Dennis Bergkamp, who we all know is quality, but he was told by his manager, this is Bruce Rioch way back in the day, he said, look, save your energy for when it's showtime, when you get the ball, because you're the player that can make things happen. So he might seem like he's drifting around the game, walking and scanning, but when he does, saves his energy for when he does get it, so he can maximize his effectiveness. So
you've got to run in the Premier League, Yabba. Unless you're scoring 30 goals a season, you got to be running. I agree with you that sometimes walking is the right thing to do. But
you can't walk in our team as a number 10. They'd kill him.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the player that walks the most in the Premier League is one that you've got to kind of look at and really you got to have a good legal team to say why they're walking so much, because running about is pretty important to football. and it's a common complaint levelled at Manchester United by players and pundits that we're not running enough. So it does seem somewhat counterproductive to sign the player that walks the most in the league for a team that needs more runners.
But do you see my point there? Like, the manager of Bergkamp told him, don't do that. We're watching Aston Villa now. We know what frustrations we might have had with Rashford, but some of the Villa fans are saying, oh, he's not working hard enough or whatever. But maybe the manager, it was suggested, maybe the manager of Villa has said to him, wait, just sit back in and wait for your opportunity so you can explode and exploit people. So it might look like he's not doing much, but he's the outlet. He's the guy that makes things happen. So you got to, put him in reserve and wait for him to do his moments. If you got him tracking back like Marino had him playing right back and following the ball up and down.
Do you want that type of player? Do you think that's the type of player we need? Like someone who doesn't have the physicality to impact the game without walking?
We're talking about walking and scanning. I don't necessarily. My point is, I don't necessarily think that's a negative. I think if you've got a team and you've got someone who can be effective, you need to maximize that and get the best out of them. You don't want someone blowing from their backside and then they can't do what they want to do because they're tired. We all know when you're tired, you can't, do things as effectively as you might want to when you're fresh.
I'm not persuaded by the argument that we have to build a team around Cunha and let him walk.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying some managers will say to certain guys, look, hold it down, position yourself here, because when we're on the transition, I need you to, it's showtime. I need you to go.
I think that's what Ten Hag did with Rashford. We don't need those hidey. But I'll be honest, I don't expect him to come and hide, and I would hate to think that we've got players on the pitch who are allowed to not do what everybody else in the pitch is supposed to be doing. Get yourself into that position by working hard. Don't wait in the position and then expect the team to score like Cristiano Ronaldo was doing. I'm not really interested in that. I want to see 10 hard workers and a different goalie, but yeah, same thing.
I'm a bit more accepting of it, to be honest, if you've got the numbers. Like, if Rashford could score, let's say he got 25 goals a season in the Premier League. I wouldn't say I'm happy, but I'm content with him not to contribute as much, defensively and physically and things like that. But, Cunha has, Wolves have finished 12th, 13th, 14th, since he's been there. He hasn't made a big enough impact to earn that right for me. And look, every player that comes to United from now on, there's going to be parts of their game that they need to improve. We're not going to be buying ready-made players anymore. And Cunha, if he's got to up his work rate, that's probably one of the easiest things to up in football. It's a lot easier to run around more than it is to improve your first touch or getting on the end of crosses and things. But this is why I think the price is a little bit high, because there are question marks about his consistency and if he can sustain his goal output that he's got this season. But there's absolutely no question to me that he improves the team and that he gives you a lot more than, for example, Joshua Zirkzee would in the same position.
Can I just say, big up to you guys in the comments. I'm just going to have to read a couple of them because we've got some good stuff here. Going way back now. I'm going to read this one now. And guys, feel free to give us compliments. Like Tactical Devils, he said here, I really enjoy listening to you guys. It's a good mix of insight and personality. You definitely deserve a bigger audience. Great channel. And he gives us, like Cunha, the thumbs up. So thank you
very much.
Tactical Devils. Vince is saying a losing game player is like losing a member of the family. Very hard to deal with. But if he's grieving, he can always speak to us. But then again, we're going to go out about singing him, signing him. Okay. I didn't understand that completely, but Chris is saying here, without Cunha, Wolves will be going down. It's interesting. Ed's just confirmed. Don't get me wrong, it does improve your team, though, after all that. Big up to T in the house as well. Chris is saying here again, I think Post has had a strong stance against CUNHA. I like CUNHA, so we'll be interested to see if he comes to us. Throw Rasmus in with that deal as well. Ed saying, I don't think he's the right fit for United at this time. Simon is saying, if he doesn't sign for us, then Newcastle or any promoted team, if they can afford him, would sign him, or even champions Liverpool. T saying here, some people think you have to run like a headless chicken all game like John McGinn. And this is a good one here from Richard saying, work smarter, not harder. That's the point I think I was trying to make about certain players. I think it doesn't bother us seeing players like Walk, king of around. We've seen it for years with Anthony and Martial. So what's the difference? That's from Vincent. Tactical Devil saying here, Messi walked to 85 minutes of the game. CUNHA would give us a bit of bite up front. Ex-Wolves teeth. Very funny. Wordplay there from Steffi. We don't expect anything less. Ed saying here, one thing in his favour, he loves big game. Let's face it, at Old Trafford, he may feel up for it more. I just don't know. I just don't know he is what you guys really need right now.
He is. Trust me, Ed. You support Wolves like you know your player. We know our team. we do need a CUNHA.
Okay. Ed said here, one ball on the pitch to go around Bruno, CUNHA and Garnacho. Tyrone saying here, everyone's always making excuses. This is Tyrone, right?
This is Tyrone. He's just off on one. I can't understand why he's dissing John McGinn, who would improve our team a hell of a lot.
It's observation here. People look at him as a headless chicken. That's the way he described him. But watching him in Europe the other day, I thought he was really good. He scored a brilliant goal against PSG and running the midfield, and he's a good player. But everyone's always making excuses for Rashford. I don't think I was Tyrone, but I know he goes.
I was.
Okay. We do lack a bit of bite up front, says Simon. We need a player with more teeth than the entire Osman family. If you know about the Osmans, they've got smile like the Bee Gees. Enough teeth, basically. That's what it's saying. Ed Marshall saying here, referring to Matty, he said, yes, mate, of course, he's incredible on this day, but his behaviour this season has been almost as much of a detriment as his performances have won us games. It's almost a net equal. Stephanie talking about CUNHA, the positions he can play in, all three across the front line. We got to get him before our rivals wake up. He wants United, just do it, Nike. And last one from me, Simon saying here, we need someone with a killer instinct, someone like Dracula, who goes for the jugular near goal. Scoring goals has been hard for us lately. Simon's come as a bit of a Stephanie wordplay, the last two comments from him.
Something I got to put to you. This deal, would we be looking, I take it we'd be looking the July the 1st, right?
That's what, so the Daily Mirror or the Daily Mail, Disco Boy, has come out and said that they want DELAP and CUNHA done pretty much by the 1st of July, which is the opening of the transfer window. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of money if we don't negotiate well, though, because with clauses, like obviously you have to pay them all in one go. Like it's not an installment.
So what will they do? Offer an extra $1 million and pay it in installments?
Probably. So we have something called the revolving credit facility, which we use for down payments on transfers. And I believe that it's in a relatively healthy state, so we can use that. We obviously have to pay it back with a bit of interest. But Wolves, their position at the moment is that they want the clause paid in full. They won't get this. They'll get, like, if its release clause is 60 million, we'll end up paying 66, 67 million over 5 years for it. And we should be able to do that. The DELAP one, I wonder if that might be harder, if they might ask for the 30 million all in one go to, stick in with their parachute payment and try and get up as soon as possible. But yeah, I think we've got our work cut out to get those two players in with the accountancy and the finances and things like that.
Can I ask you something about this? Just come to my mind because I talked to a friend earlier about just bought a new house, and they were talking about they're self-employed and they were going to get some sort of insurance just in case they got sick. So does the same apply? So if you buy a player and they viciously break their leg or they're out of the game, they have to retire. What would happen? Like we say we buy CUNHA, big money, like you say, and you spend all this money. What is there any sort of backup insurance that if he broke his leg or if he was injured or had to retire? Is there any?
You're thinking of Dean Ashton, basically, aren't you?
Yeah.
Was a very promising West Ham player. No, it happened at West Ham, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. But he came through at Norwich. That's when he really stabbed himself,
But he was scoring a lot of goals and he played for England. And on England duty, he got a terrible leg break that basically retired him. And at the time, I don't think that he was insured because he was playing for England. And the rules had to change around that, where the English FA had to get insurance out for players. But I believe that there are that you can get things insured, but I'm not sure what you're insuring. Like if you're insuring their value, their marketing rights, and so on. And I mean, there's things like Act of God as well, which insurance companies always use to get out of playing for me for fucking floods and stuff. So I'm not a huge expert on insurance stuff. There must be someone in chat who's a world-renowned insurer who could tell us more about this. But yeah, I think they will, Yabba, but I don't know what is covered, what the payments are, and stuff like that. Because there's another very unfortunate case, isn't there, of a Cardiff player called, is it Saha or Salah?
The one who died in a plane crash.
Yeah. I'm fairly sure that there was a massive issue about the insurance and paying the transfer fee and all those things then. But yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Funny comments coming in, by the way. But yeah, in fact, I have no idea really what would happen in that sort of situation. Players are mostly insured by clubs as they're seen as a business asset. That's from Richard. You know who had the most insurance is Steven Gerrard, so he can make all them claims. That's a joke. I don't know. It's gone over my head. And Nunes scored, tonight. Nunes, ex-Wolves player as well. I thought he's playing right back. Imagine, does he get insurance for that by be signing for a midfield and ends up being played at right back? I feel sorry for the guy. But anyway, we won't be doing that to CUNHA. We definitely need him up front for his goals.
Good stuff. Are you still up for CUNHA then?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I know. Look, big up to the Wolves fan who came in. I understand where he's coming from. From my point of view, I think sometimes you watch games, you get a bit peed off with certain players who don't feel they're putting the effort in a lot of time. And then when it's showtime, big games, he's looking for a big move. He turns it up against Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, all these big sides. But the week in, week out, I understand where you're coming from. We do get frustrated with certain players like that. But you have to be motivated at all times, you know. And I think to score 14 goals in 32 games or whatever it is this season, I think that's brilliant. And, you know, he's having a season and a half. So,
yeah, no someone has been rubbish and bad and a detriment to Wolves. That's
what was his numbers last season? What were CUNHA's numbers last season?
Just in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Let me check for you. I think he might have scored 12 goals last season, but I'll find out. So in the Premier League last season...
Thanks, Simon.
What? Oh, is he giving it?
Oh, no,
he's off.
Simon's bed. Lack a notch.
Right, goals. So he got 12 last season in the Premier League in 32 games.
Double figures again.
In his debut season, he only got 2, but he only played 17 games.
Should we take a question from the comments?
Sure.
Yeah, this is Tactical Devils. Big up to you, man. It's a question for the panel. What's your take on CUNHA's attitude of professionalism? It feels like this is one of our biggest issues when we're signing players, that they seem to lose the hunger to win.
I think that's in him. You can see from the way he plays and the way he gets frustrated. Yeah, it might come back to bite us on our ass in a couple of games, but that sort of attitude can be infectious for the rest of the team. You know, him driving after the ball, making a tackle might make somebody else think, oh shit, he's just come in and he's done it. I mean, might be a bit difficult in training, you know, but if he's clattering into man, but no, his attitude, I have no problem with his attitude. His professionalism, does he turn up to training every week? Yep. Does he do you hear anything outside of football? No. So I would like to hope that his professionalism is okay. All right, we're not in Wolverhampton. Maybe there's little bits that leak in the local papers, but there's been nothing that's mainstream. So no, I have absolutely no issue with his attitude or professionalism, Tactical Devils.
I do a little bit now, to be honest. The walking stat has thrown me a little bit, and Ed's comments as well, like sort of like corroborate it somewhat. The problem is, right, is that if you're a good player in a shit team, like you're going to do like less stuff than the rest of them.
Ed.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, but we are a shit team as well. Don't like you'll finish above us this season. I wonder because like the players that I like Bruno and Delo, they show attitude and professionalism. They're available. They're committed. They get the running in. It's just that sometimes their quality, their decisions annoy us, and so on. I would like to think that Cunha is nearer them than he is, say, who's a lazy trainer, Tevez, or someone like that. But I do agree. It's a really, really like important part of our recruitment is that Louis van Gaal gutted the club of its culture when he sold those 19 players, and we've been struggling for years to get something back in. If Amorim is going to succeed at the football club, he has got to get the players in that start running that dressing room and getting standards into the club and by standards, like standards nowadays seem to be that they all get their hair cut when there's a game that's going to be on the telly, so they look nice and stuff, instead of like where Keno's talking about banging balls to Rude in training, saying, Yorkie used to take those in his stride. You should be controlling them. Like, so we need to kind of get this culture in where you see a player like Ugarte, and he's done it, to be fair to him, starting to improve or expand upon his game in recent weeks, the things that he needs to be doing more. Does Cunha change that? Probably not, but do 3 or 4 Cunhas change it is the issue. And with his walking and what Ed has said, I'm cooling a little bit on Cunha because we're losing Evans and we're losing Lindelof, and I know Johnny Evans nicked a taxi, but I think that he's pretty good. And this I don't agree with at all. The manager doesn't set the culture; it's the players. Players run a dressing room, and that's what I'm concerned about. Is are we getting enough good characters in, like Matic, to sort of put fire, to get a sense of discipline into them, because the manager can't be holding their hand, looking after them all the time. They need standards coming from within and without that we then see reflected on the pitch. So, and this is also my concern with someone like Victor Osimhen or even a DELAP. Like we kind of don't know what they're like around the training ground and so on, and that is something we should be focusing on. Losing Lindelof and Evans, I think, is actually quite a big blow to the club.
I think Richard was supposed to have gone to bed about 10 minutes ago, but he's still up typing. No lead in the club, just position toothbrush in his mouth, It's a good question raised, and Tactical Devils responded by saying, the problem is they turn into rock stars overnight without actually achieving anything other than signing for the most popular club in the world. I just want to say hi to Rio. May, how you doing, man? Rio's going to come on the show really soon once he gets his business sorted out. But Rio's doing great stuff with his Man United channel. Go and check him out on TikTok, and he's always talking about our favourite club. So big up to you, Rio, as well. Really good questions. I do think what got me with this Cunha is he was at Atletico Madrid, and they didn't want him. So this question has been raised about professionalism, attitude. I'm thinking, if Diego Simeone don't want you, and he's clearly talented, and happy to get rid of you without any, problem, then maybe there is something in it. But
no, but Simeone, look at Simeone. Yeah, but look at Simeone's style of football. Maybe Cunha didn't want to play. I mean, you've seen if you're an attacker in a Simeone team, fucking hell, you know what I
How
mean?
does he
Maybe
do it, Mr. B? He manages to convince everyone that they're shit and that they have to like play as if
that
they're
way.
crap players. It's mental.
See, and that's what I mean. Maybe he just said, you know what, forget it. He needs to move somewhere else. No, it's the same situation with Garnacho. We're going to let Garnacho, what are we going to regret it in 7 years' time when he becomes a half decent player? Sometimes you can't wait. Sometimes the player's not ready to wait.
Okay. Interesting. But guys, 19 in the chat right now. Just give us a like, hit the like button, and after the chat as well, make sure you give us a few comments as well into the YouTube channel about the show, the topic on the show, and one of us or all of us will respond. Let's get that moving again. A couple more comments here. Tyrone is saying here, Man United need to look at Wharton. If he signs for any of our rivals, I'll be deeply disappointed. Best young midfielder I've seen produced in this country for a while. And CUNHA suits, so this is from Rio. Rio saying CUNHA suits a front foot style. It's promising that we still want him despite the walking. Amarin wants to attack, he's saying there. Big up Rio. And T saying here, Adam Wharton and Edison from Atalanta take our team to the next level. Quality and legs in midfield is what we need, says Tyrone. Tyrone's changed his profile picture. This is why I'm getting confused. His name's gone to T. Just call
Yeah,
me.
he did. Yeah, you've been away. That's when you're away. So V came in and started mimicking Tyrone. So Tyrone decided that he was going to start all over again. So we can blame V for that.
Oh, God.
Deleted all of his social media. He changed his name.
You're joking.
No.
Because I saw Tyrone come in with a picture with a girl the other day.
That wasn't him.
Oh, you telling me
that was him?
Tyrone?
Oh, Tyrone was the picture with the girl.
Yeah. But I think what he's got there is Final Fantasy VII, I believe, a computer game. And I've checked, but that is Tyrone.
Just big up Richard here. He's saying, I gave you a shout on Twitter on Sunday. It took me half an hour. I was looking at the main agenda, and it's the MU agenda. Ooh, he does this. Guys, yeah, if you don't mind, I mean, because I get confused. I get so familiar with people. Like, I just want to say big up to Matthew Bassett, because there's always, we know with that pose with the football at Birmingham City Ground, we know that's Matthew Bassett. So when you keep chopping and changing your pictures, we get a bit confused. Well, I do at least. And I'm Titanium saying I blocked him, talking about our friend.
He blocked the wrong person as well.
All right. What do you mean?
He blocked UK Strains as well. UK Strains, and I've been here for 8 years. How the fuck are you blocking me? And obviously he thought it was, obviously his picture had changed, didn't it? So he just immediately thought it was V. But look, you've calmed down now. I am Titanium. Well done.
He's doing a good job.
Yeah,
he didn't ask for it. He didn't ask for it.
I know. We gave it to him. But yeah, look, that's what happens. Pressure.
Actually, I tell you what, like, I'm going to put something in the chat. Can you comment that, please, under the video? That is a series of trending words on YouTube today. And if enough of you write something about that, then it might get us put into an algorithm.
The Oblivion remake has sent Kanye West to sign CUNHA.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, have you not seen what Kanye's been up to today?
Oh, what the fuck's he done now?
I'll tell you after the show, but just more wild stuff. Or put like Grand Theft Auto 6 or something like that in the chat, in the comments after the show. It does. It's been demonstrated to help. But I need to brush my teeth and go to bed. I'm dying here.
Okay, well, we can't smell your mouth from here, but all right, if you insist. You're an idiot. All
right.
All right, guys. We like a notching. Yeah. It's that time again. We will be back tomorrow. Same time probably. Ooh, who's playing tomorrow?
Arsenal and Crystal Palace. At
9 o'clock tomorrow then.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
They
guys,
could lose the title though that night tomorrow officially, I would imagine.
Yeah, if they drop points, yeah, that's right. If they drop points, I think
So that could be a very depressing show as Liverpool equalise.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. It wasn't a battle that United could stop. If we were close, or we had the opportunity to, then fine. If we had beaten Liverpool twice this season, it wouldn't have made no difference to the fact they would have taken 20. So until we're in that race where we can go toe to toe, I'm not going to be pissed. I'm not going to be sitting there. They're going to sing 20. Yeah, them. I won't say it, but and they might well sing 21 next year. But if we're not in the race, if we're not in that battle, in that race to beat them, then how can we be moaning?
Because we've been knocked off our perch.
Yeah, but we knocked them off their perch, and they had to wait 30 years to get it back. We're a lot closer now to getting our perch back than they were when we knocked them off it. So,
do you think so?
Yeah, of course we are. Bathtime. How much were they ahead of us when Fergie came in?
Well, I meant more in terms of time, because we're like, is this our 11th year since we last won a title?
Oh, it's not going to be another 19 years. It's not going to be another 19 years.
It does feel like it. Next season, our main target has got to be avoiding relegation, to be honest.
Depends on who we buy. No, it depends on who we buy.
This is one blip year. Chelsea had a blip year last season.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I can't believe we're going to be as bad with the transfer window, with raising the floor of the team. I don't see how we're going to be that bad.
Well, we are signing like someone with the most expected walking stats in the Premier League, which does.
I want people to expect him. I want people to be expecting him to be walking. I knew that stat would kill you Bathtime. That's why I threw it out there really quick. I knew it would.
I don't like it, Mr. B.
I know, because you want everybody. I know. You want everybody. You feel everybody has to be. That's all right. When they're running past him and he's walking, and then he's receiving the ball, and when they stop, he's running past them. It's no problem. You've watched him. Have you ever? Does it ever look like he walks around the pitch?
No, he doesn't. But I still don't like taking Aesop's fables, like the tortoise and the hare, as a route to getting us like into European football next year. But oh god, it'll be all right. It'll be fine. You're right, Mr. B. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Are we getting anyone on? I think we've got Rio. Was ready to come on the show now. He's sorted out his technical stuff as well. Dora obviously will be on some time this week, and maybe even Kahinde as well. My brother. When
Moon landing special.
You heard he got married, didn't you?
What's the joke?
Was this a joke?
To a woman?
No, I'm waiting for it now. Go on.
Well,
come on.
It's not even funny. Everybody knows Kahinde on the show, and they've got a bit of sad news. Just heard that I don't know how to say. He's on his honeymoon with his wife in Croatia. I just got a postcard from them. Said they're going to split.
Oh, Jesus, Yabba, you're so shit. You are terrible.
Last time laughed.
It was just.
Dear. Come on.
For God's sake.
I was going to wait for Dora for that one, but she can check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, boo. Oh, thank you, Rushmano. Bless up, bro. If there's any way those 5 gifts could have been a slap in the side of Yabba's head for that terrible joke. Maybe you need to start maybe you need to start the show with a shit joke, and then the show will always improve. Then, innit?
Yeah, it can't get much worse. Than that. Just quickly, I think I Am Titanium keeps talking about conspiracy theories, because we did make a talk last week about not Lacanach but Loch Ness, and the question was asked about that, and maybe one day we will discuss that. If we get go out to Europa League.
If we go to Europa before the final, we're not even talking about it. We're gonna get Kunde on. We're gonna get talking about no space, flat Earth, pyramids, clones,
the moon landings,
non-moon landings. Yeah,
who shot JR?
There you go. Yeah, was it? Who was it? It wasn't Cliff Barnes, was it? It was
No, it was the girl, the woman.
his wife. It was Kristen.
It wasn't.
Kristen.
Yeah, Kristen, that's it. That's
Kristen.
it. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Who shot Dirty Den? Or who killed Dirty Den? Was that resolved?
They didn't kill him. Dirty Den wasn't killed.
I mean, he fell into the canal, didn't he? But then he came back.
Just like Bobby Ewing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, in the shower. They had a whole series, didn't they?
They think we're stupid, but we still watched it.
All right,
Anyway,
yeah, and we just want to second this because Tactical Devil saying, big up Rush Mano, absolute legend. I have so much respect for you, man, top man, indeed. Because he's just look at this, guys, generous. Gifted us 5 agenda memberships.
Yeah, say thank you if you got a
thank you.
What is it? A sub, a membership?
No, Dirty Den faked his own death. What? So he jumped in the river himself? Then did he?
Maybe a Nana can do that.
Oh dear.
Oh, right, hang on. Angie killed him. No, that was Grant fell into the canal. I don't watch EastEnders.
It was Dirty Den. I think Dirty Den fell in the canal. Tyrone saying here, robots will inherit the earth. Humanity will be looked at as how we look at dinosaurs.
That's how do you look at dinosaurs, Yabba?
They never existed. So
But dragons did. T, when we're knocked out, please, I want you to come on because you look like you talk a lot of fart as well, just like Yabba. So it'd be good. It'd be good having you bouncing off each other. Robots will inherit the earth, man. Oh.
You know, like the thing with Tyrone, football's not his first love. We had a big game the other day when we, one of the most memorable games ever, and he went to the theatre. Acting is his first love, so big up to Tyrone.
Fair enough.
The EastEnders been decommissioned this year. Okay, I don't watch rubbish anymore. Yeah. But the best line for me is who's that girl says, "I'm not a slag." No.
Oh, I know you're talking about. You're talking about
Cat Slater.
Slag, Cat Slater.
Yeah. I'm not. What's the worst? I'm a total slag or something.
Yeah,
like
she's a total slag.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that.
Slag.
All right.
Right.
Fine.
All right. Is that enough nonsense?
Yeah,
Moon
sorry.
landings, total slag. Right.
Look, it's time to go. We started.
And then there's one more where another with Cat Slater. Someone says something about you're not my mum, and then thinks I am your mum.
No, that's not Cat Slater. Ain't that Ange and ain't that? No, it's not Cat Slater. Was it?
I'm sure.
I thought that was what's Dirty Den's. Wasn't that Angie and not your mama? Oh, anyway, look, it doesn't matter. We'll find out.
The only one I remember is was there a bloke called Trevor in EastEnders who was from Scotland and a serial killer or something? That's literally the only time I watched EastEnders.
I can't remember that.
Long after we are gone, human. Guess what? I won't be fucking here, T. So it's gonna make no difference to me, bruv. I don't believe in ghosts. So guess what? It is what it is. So if they come after me, it's fine. If they come before me, then I'll be looking for you, innit?
Yeah, we're just worried about like walk-in stats and things like that.
Yeah.
I can't be having you having an existential crisis about the nature of transhumanity. Like now, it's too late. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
It says bathtime is going back to work tomorrow with Skynet.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Right. It's like a lot, guys. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Right. It's like a notch from me.
Like a notch from me.
Like a notch from me.